All right, so where do you want me to start?
Wherever you'd like.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think about what I'm going to talk about.
So could you tell us your name and what it is you do?
Oh, yeah, my name is Micah Barga. I majored in video game and cartoon design at college. I don't know if any of you have gotten the memo, but I am a 2012 alumnus here. I obtained a multimedia certification. And the following year, I graduated from Edison Community College with an associate's degree in game development. As far as my jobs go, I'm working 2 jobs, the Darke County Courthouse in Greenville, Ohio, in the Clerk of Courts Division, where my duties include but are not limited to filing documents. And my other job is at Taco Bell, which at the Greenville store in which my jobs include but are not limited to cleaning and sanitizing the store.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you also design video games?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I'm trying to think about like what I could talk about with that.
Would you say that's a hobby of yours or part of your long-term career goal?
Both.
So what made you interested in video game design?
Well, I've always liked video games when I was a kid. I believe I started playing video games at the age of 5. And then 4 years later, I got the idea of, what it would be like if I could say, have some of my family members and friends in a video game series. And it just kind of took off from there.
And could you tell us about some of the games that you've designed?
One is The Adventures of Micah. This is actually a series I've been working on since I was 10. I'm actually hoping to make it into a real video game series someday. The series revolves around me protecting the world from an evil troll genius named Trekker.
And how did you design it? So what are some
Like
things?
the early release?
What's that?
Like the early copy?
Yeah, I do have a page where you can download and play my games. It's called Game Jolt. Yeah, if you're looking it up on the web, the address is Power Micah, all lowercase letters, all one word.
How do you spell Micah?
MICAH .gamejolt.
Angel.
Yep. .io.
Yep, I found it.
So how did you come up with the idea of that game?
I think I've answered a little bit ago, but I'll go through it again. I just like the idea of having family, friends, peers, be a part of my life, see like what situations they go through.
And what are some things that you had to do or some skills that you needed to develop your games?
Well, I needed to learn programming skills. If you're familiar with like C++ or C#, those are different programming languages you had to use. So I've had to learn how to program a software's behavior using coding. You got like your if else statements, for loops, a do while statement, etc.
And were those skills that you learned here at Sinclair or on your own? Or at Edison, I should say.
Could you repeat that question, please?
Where did you learn those skills?
Oh, I learned them at Edison. Now, Sinclair, I basically learned more of the design aspects of the games, drawing your pictures and coming up with your ideas and so on.
What are some classes? So what are some classes that maybe you took at Sinclair to help with that goal? Some of the design classes?
Well, one of which was digital animation. I learned how to create animations using the program Blender. I also remember taking digital video. In that class, you just learn how to come up with the story. You have to learn to come up with the storyline and then process it into a video and do your editing, like do your different transitions, things like that. I've also, I don't know if this is related in any way, but I've also taken web page design 1 and 2. That's just where you can build your own website. I've taken 2D design basics. The backtrack here, during my days here at St. Clair, the institution was going by quarters and not by semesters. So, and once they transitioned over to semesters, I don't know if the 2D and 3D design basics changed, because that's another thing. There was design basics 2D and then design basics 3D. I only took 2D. But after the transition from quarters to semesters, I didn't know if that all combined into one whole class or not. But anyway, and then moving on, I remember taking typography. That's just where I learned like the different fonts and their history. And another class I remember taking is digital theory or something like that. I think that's, I don't quite remember what all that class taught me, because, bear with me here. I graduated in 2012, so, a lot certainly has changed in 12 years. I also remember taking digital illustration. I learned how to make designs using Adobe Illustrator. So I've worked with some of the Adobe suites here. I've also worked with Photoshop. I think that was in digital imaging, if I'm remembering the class right. And I also remember in typography, I worked a little with Adobe InDesign.
I know some of you are interested in video games or enjoy video games. Zach, what's your question?
Oh, I don't have.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was where I was going with it, though. What questions do you all have? Because I can keep asking, but I also want to give you all a chance to ask some questions, too.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So the games you design, are they all like 2D platform games? Or...
Yes, they're all 2D.
Alright.
I am hoping to get into 3D someday, but only time will tell when that'll happen. But just remember, a little goes a long way.
Did you need financing for any of this?
Financing? Like, what do you mean by
Money
financing?
put in?
You mean like to make my games?
Mhm.
Nope, the software I used was free.
Okay. What all classes were needed to take that, like, especially like high school?
I didn't take any classes in high school, but now like Edison, I took a lot of programming classes, whereas St. Clair I just took a lot of design classes. If you'd like, I can tell you like some of the programming classes I took at Edison. I know one of which was Intro to Programming using C++. I think I've covered that already.
Yeah.
And C#, that was Advanced Programming using C#. I also worked with what's called Dr. Java. It's basically just like a different like Java platform, and that was in multimedia programming with Java. I also worked with what's called Jython. There's Python and Java. They're both programming languages. That was basically a combination of the two. So that, I'm trying to think. And I think that's pretty much it right there.
Good.
Did you have a question?
Yeah. Where should I get started for video game designing?
The program I used is called Game Maker. You can find that on Yo-Yo Games. And that's actually great for beginners because it doesn't require you to have any programming or coding experience. At least the older versions actually have drag and drop interfaces, but the later versions they kind of did away with that. But for the latest version I'm working with, which is Game Maker Studio 2, it actually has the option to do convert to either coding. I think it's called like visual language, something like that. I'm still experimenting with it myself, so bear with me here. But either way, it actually gives you the option to use to convert either using the drag and drop interfaces or the coding where you type everything out.
And is that free as well, or is it a paid?
It is free, yes. But I mean, there are some modules available for purchase, because the latest version of Game Maker actually has modules available for different platforms. There's actually 3 different video game platforms they have on it. They are Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One, if I recall.
Nice.
Who here likes video games?
Gamer.
We have some gamers in the room.
Yeah, nice to see that.
So it sounds like you've taken quite a few college classes, having gone to both Sinclair and Edison. What were some challenges that you faced in college, and how did you overcome them?
Well, there were a number of times where I struggled in a class or two, and whenever I addressed it to a professor or advisor, they would just say to me, "Oh, you should just drop the class and change majors." I just disregarded that and just kept putting my best foot forward and just did what I had to. I just didn't give up. I was persistent, and I may have had to repeat a class or two, but I eventually reached my goal. That's another thing I do want to point out. You might encounter that from time to time, not just here in college, but in the real world as well. The best thing to do is to ignore people like that. The most common reason why people say or do negative things like that to you is because they're unhappy with themselves. So they're looking to take that on somebody else to make themselves feel better. So you are who you are, ask yourself, what makes you unique? How do you learn best? What do you like? How do you learn best? And so on and so forth.
I had the same thing in high school when I took principles of computer science. At first, I felt like was needing to drop out of principles of computer science, but I stayed, and because I didn't want to give up that easy.
Yeah, and that's definitely what you should do. And like I mentioned before, if anyone gives you a hard time, just walk away. Never give up. Keep your eyes on the prize.
3 quarters later, I ended up making it with an A.
Yeah, some things are worth the wait, and I just told my dad back there and his friend of that a little bit ago.
So what's some other advice you have for current college students?
Give me a little bit while I collect my thoughts here.
Certainly. I'll be thinking of some other questions you all might have as well. Zach, I know you said that you were really excited to have them in the class today to get some of your stuff answered.
Yeah. Yeah, my mind's blank, sorry.
So all of these students are in their first semester of college, right? And maybe taking some CCP classes or some other classes. But what's something that you wish you knew when you started college?
Probably, if there's one thing, it would probably be to just be myself. Let myself learn at my own pace, embrace my differences and my interests, and not live up to others' expectations. And speaking of which, there is something else I'd like to point out. Do not rush yourself, okay? Pace yourself.
I always like to tell everybody college isn't a race.
Yeah.
We all go at our own pace.
Yep. Enjoy the ride.
So it sounds like you have a couple of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find time to also design video games?
Both jobs are part-time, so just 4-hour shifts at both the courthouse and Taco Bell. So basically, that's still a large chunk of my day. That's still a large chunk of my day for free time. So, let's see, give me a little bit here. I'm trying to reduce 4/24 to the simplest terms. And that's still 1/6 of my day all to myself.
And would you say that time is dedicated to, how much time a week do you dedicate to your video game designing?
And I'm not quite sure on average. I never really kept track of that, but basically I just work on it whenever I feel like, if that's even an answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your favorite part of your video game?
I guess it would have to be the family, friends, and peers that I feature. Don't know if that answers your question or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the first game you designed?
It would probably have to be a fighting game that I called Power Micah versus Trekker. It was just to back up there. There are five different superpowers I have in the Adventures of Micah. One of which is Power Micah. But anyway, this game was supposed to be a fighting game, and it was me fighting Trekker as a fighting game.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and revisions were later made to that.
How old were you when you first designed your game, the first game?
15.
15.
And I was still in my freshman year of college. I mean, not college, high school. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you have a favorite game?
No, I kind of like them all. And that's another thing. It's okay to not have favorites, okay? It's completely fine to be indifferent.
What are some games you play often?
Mostly platformers like your usual Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong Country, if you remember that from Super Nintendo, Banjo-Kazooie, that's a very popular game for N64. To name a few.
There you go, Logan. I know you. What did you play at Game Room Rumble?
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart?
You kind of.
That's another game I play.
I believe you said you destroyed a lot of people in that game.
Yep.
Like all the Koopa shells, the banana peels, or the infamous spiny shell.
Yeah.
Did you know how to use all of them?
I knew
Because
how
I
to-
feel like there
yes,
was
I knew
nobody
how-
who could
I knew
challenge you.
I knew how to use all those, yeah.
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 If you were to pursue your video game career,
Where do I want to pursue it?
would you want to work for a big company like Sony or Sega, or maybe even Nintendo?
Yeah, I'm hoping to one day get a job with Nintendo making video games. And I'm hoping to one day adapt to the Adventures of Micah through them and get them made for their platforms.
How do you stay up to date on what's going on in the video game designing world? Are there specific other designers that you like to follow on social media, or do you follow maybe a newsletter? How do you stay up to date on all of the new technology changes and things like that?
Basically just my own research. It's not like if I'm not focused on it, if I'm just browsing around the web anonymously, pretty much, sometimes I'll come across things.
What's your favorite console?
If I had to choose, it would probably have to be the Switch.
We have one too, I love it.
I also have a Switch.
Adley, you have a Switch too,
Yeah.
right? Who has
Really
it?
have mine with me.
Do you play during your off time, like in between classes?
I make it all the time.
I even play online.
Zach, do you have a Switch?
Yes.
What do you like about it?
I have one too.
Oh, you have one too? What do you not like about it?
Probably it's technology, like the detachable Joy-Cons and the touch screen, and also it's hybrid mechanics where you can play on or off TV, like on TV and then off the TV on its own tablet screen.
Is that what others like about it too?
And also some of its, and I think also some of its accessories like the Nintendo Labo where you have the cardboard cutouts, like the VR
Okay.
and like VR goggles, and because I have one of those, and then I also it comes with a blaster. You can shoot monsters in VR.
I don't know. What do you think about it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Gotta think about it.
Did you have a question?
No, Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
What are some ways that you advertise your games?
I usually will post content to social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, etc. And anything Adventures of Micah related, I do have a Facebook page on it. If you want to look it up, it's just The Adventures of Micah. If you want to like and follow it, I don't really post updates on it as often as I'd like, because keep in mind here, I'm a one-man show here, so this is a lot of work for just one guy to be doing. But if I make revisions or something new, especially if it's Adventures of Micah, I will make an announcement on it.
Are you excited for GTA 6?
What's that?
Are you excited for GTA 6?
I do not play that game. Sorry.
Yeah, he's more Nintendo.
Oh,
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not one to judge.
Yeah.
What other questions do you want? Oh, go ahead.
I want to tell them about your GoPro, some of your posts you have on GoPro, Instagram,
Oh.
YouTube channel, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. I do have a YouTube channel if you want to follow me. You can just look up my name, Micah Barga. Don't know if you know how to spell that or not, or if you'd like, I could spell it up on the
I
board.
think that would be fabulous, yeah.
Okay.
Let's just hope it's legit. I just hope it's legit and not like something sending direct messages.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if my posts weren't legit, I wouldn't even be sharing them.
No, I didn't mean it in like a bad way or anything. I didn't mean it or like.
Yeah. Just being cautious, and that's completely fine also. And that's definitely what you should do, be cautious, because there's certainly a number of bad actors are out there trying to ruin our lives.
Yeah, it happened.
Could you also, I'm sorry, Logan.
No, you
go
can
ahead.
say something.
Thank you. Could you also put your website up there?
On my Facebook, there's Micah Facebook page.
Or the website that we could actually go on to play your game.
Oh, to play my games, okay.
Yes.
Sure. I also have another page. It's still building up as we speak. I only have 2 games on it. It's called GX Games.
And what are those?
What's that?
What are those games?
They are one of them is a game starring my dad and his deceased wife. It's called Jeff's Job Encounter, so I'll write that down if you'd like. And another one I just finished last night. Keep in mind, this game and this one have already been made. I just made revisions to them. And here's the other game. Yeah, those are the only 2 games I have so far on gx.games. More are on the way, don't worry. All the games you find on my Game Jolt page will eventually be on GX Games. But, making video games as well as revisions do take time, so please be patient with me.
How long did it take you to develop some of these games?
I would say anywhere from, there were some games that took me just an entire day to do, and there were a couple that took me 4 months. But on average for me, it usually depends on how much time I invest into it. Like there might be one day where I'll spend 2 hours on it, and then another day I'll spend a half hour on it. It just varies pretty much. And it also depends on the content, the kind of how much content you want to add in. Like you want to add a lot of content, little content, stuff like that.
So you mentioned the game with your dad.
Yep.
Adventures of Micah. You said that you have a lot of friends and family kind of in that game as well. Would you say friends and family is your main inspiration, or where do you draw inspiration from?
I would say family and friends is my inspiration.
And what's Matthew's annoying crossover battle?
It's this mini game featuring my older brother Matthew and myself, and there's these 3 nuisances who are driving people crazy, and you have to stop them.
What are some other questions we have?
Have you played on a PlayStation 5 or mostly Nintendo?
Mostly Nintendo.
Have you done No Man's Sky?
What's that?
No Man's Sky?
No, never even heard of it.
It's sort of like similar to like Minecraft, but it's more like outer space stuff. So you can build spaceships and bases and whatnot. So it's sort of similar.
Another one. You play Super Smash Bros.
Oh yeah.
Same.
Were you involved in any clubs or organizations while you were at Sinclair or Edison?
No, I couldn't find any clubs that really interest me, or I just couldn't find the time.
We now have a new game room on campus that they're working on getting some consoles in. I think they were talking about a Switch. I think they were talking about a PlayStation. I'm not sure. And it has an old-time video game machine, you know, like Pac-Man and things like that. And we have Game Room Rumble, which Logan went to and crushed some people at Mario Kart at. But I'm also, does anybody remember what else is in there? I haven't been down there in a while. And we have a video game club, but they pretty much do Super Smash Bros. And the soccer one with cars.
Rocket League.
Yeah, I knew somebody here would know. Yes, Rocket League.
If I'm
I
not
play
mistaken,
Rocket
there
League
were
with
times
some
where
regular
St. Clair
faces
did
also.
like tournaments for that, or just had like some sort of video game event.
We did. Probably about 4. Well, it had to have been 5 years ago. We had Rocket League tournaments because I did that at one point. But we did Rocket League tournaments, I know, and a lot of Super Smash Bros. Tournaments. I haven't seen too many come back since COVID. But I think the clubs and organizations are kind of going through a revitalization, and with the new game room being online now, I think a lot of people are looking to get involved again. They do the Game Room Rumble with their smaller activities too. I haven't seen a full-on tournament in a little while.
Do you think you'll always continue to make video games?
Probably. I can't promise you that though. Only time will tell. But so far, it's still my passion.
Mm-hmm.
What skills from your other jobs do you use in video game design as well? Some transferable or soft skills that you have?
If there's one, I do use a computer at my job at the courthouse, and you know we all know how vital computer is in today's world. So, because I mean, I do use a computer to make my games with. That's where all the magic happens. As for Taco Bell, I'm not quite sure. I'm sure there's something, I just can't remember it right off the bat, at the moment at least.
Are there any skills that you think are really important for the workplace, whether that is in video game design or in some of your other roles?
I would think so. You know, like as a game developer, I was always good at math and logical thinking. So I know some jobs can involve mathematical equations or logical thinking. You know, speaking of logics, I did what are called logic puzzles in all the programming classes I took at Edison. Any of you ever done logic puzzles?
I think I've done some.
Natalie?
Oh, okay.
What other questions do we have?
Yeah.
It's hard to think of some sometimes, right? Any other questions?
What would be, I guess, what would be like the hardest video game you think you've played? Like, levels wise or like mini boss wise?
There's a number of them. One of them would be Super Mario Odyssey, the very last level, the Darker Moon, and then Super Mario Brothers Wonder, its very last level.
Okay.
And then Super Mario Galaxy 2, its last level.
You talk about the Super Mario Bros. For the Wii.
What's that?
Super Mario Brothers for the Wii.
Yeah, what about it?
Did you talk about that one?
The new Super Mario Bros. Wii?
Yeah, the Wii one. The Wii one where you're,
Well, I can bring that up if you want, but yeah, I know some of its levels were hard.
Yeah. I couldn't even.
Are any like Zelda games hard for you?
No. Other than Zelda 2 for NES, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask for N64, I'm not a Zelda fan.
I used to be, but after Switch came along, I just couldn't keep up with it. I just couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
What are some games you all enjoy playing?
It's not Nintendo, but I enjoy a game called Fallout. It's basically like post-apocalyptic, but it's basically survival games. You have to craft weapons and build bases and whatnot, but I've been beating that.
far as just Nintendo wise, I'm just more of a Mario Kart, sweaty Mario Kart.
I feel like this is kind of like a pocket. I feel like I kind of like Okie Dokie Literature Club for Undertale. Not just cause like, nah, I like it cause like the game like recognizes what you do. Like I think that's like the game knows the choices you make. The game knows when it's close to the game, or even the game can close itself. Like that. I think that's pretty cool. Like that.
I play Sonic.
What's that?
I play Sonic.
Sonic? Yeah. I do play his games too on the Sega Genesis.
Tim, what's on your Switch?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I just had it. I just don't like games.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Natalie, what do you have loaded up on your
Too
Switch?
many.
What's one that you played recently?
One of my go-tos is Castlevania or Crash Bandicoot. Mostly because I grew up playing Crash Bandicoot, so.
Aiden, Caleb, Trey, do you all play anything?
I play MLB The Show on the PlayStation, which is a baseball game.
Do either of you play anything? What do you play, Trey?
Like, what exactly?
Yeah, what are some games that you play?
I guess like Mario games, I guess, or something on PlayStation or something.
I'm also a PlayStation gamer and
Yeah.
Xbox
Yeah.
gamer.
Caleb, do you play anything?
I don't play as games as much as I used to, but the main games I really play is like Minecraft and survival games and platforms.
Did you see Did you see that a Minecraft movie is coming out in April?
Yeah, I'm planning on watching that.
So the one starring Jack Black.
Good
Yeah.
as the Mario movie turned out.
Yeah, I did see that.
And Sonic. Sonic 3 is coming out in December.
Yeah. I'm a huge Sonic.
A huge Sonic fan. I have a 4-year-old in my house who's running around with light up Sonic shoes right now. He is my child.
Can't go wrong with cosplay, huh?
Indeed, yes. And he did his first Comic-Con this year too, dressed up as Spider-Man. So, I guess, do you go to any events like that? I know, like Comic-Cons or places where you could, I grew up in New England. Boston has the Festival of Indie Games. I've gone to
Boston's New England. What?
yeah. So Boston. So the region of New England includes Massachusetts, New Hampshire, technically Connecticut, Vermont, and Maine.
The Columbus.
In Rhode Island.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah,
Occasionally.
that's what I'm trying. Like, we have a Festival of Indie Games where people will show their game development, and I know like Sharonville, Ohio, has a board game place where people can practice their games with others. Do you ever go to anything like that, or do you go to just see what's out there?
Yeah, I don't go to any of those because I live in Arcana, which is about maybe 40 minutes away from here.
Okay.
So, and I never really hear of such events that go around in the Dayton area here.
Yeah, we'll have to look for some things and see what's going on. Any other questions? I want to be mindful of your time because I also am hoping somebody will show you our Tartan Tops Lounge so you can see some of the things that we do here as well.
Okay.
Any other?
One more question.
Yeah.
You just recently hit 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel, didn't you?
Yeah, about a few months ago.
Well, congratulations on that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
What kind of content is your YouTube? Is it like gameplays and like your talks?
I do share some of my video games on there as well as like the games I play like off the Switch or whatever, and also like my cartoons like The Adventures of Micah, and I also share a number of other various content like comedy skits, for instance. Like if I come up with an idea of I say I'm walking along somewhere, I slip on a banana peel or something like that, or sometimes I'll come up with like a jib jab. Any of you ever heard of jib jab? Oh, it's just this website where you can upload photos of yourself or a loved one. You can cast them in photos and videos.
And you've done different events like kayaking, canoeing. Stuff
Yeah.
like that, outdoor stuff.
Yeah, and I also do blogs like what I'm doing now.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
What is your favorite food?
If there's one I had to pick, it would probably have to be pizza.
Did you say you too? Is that your favorite?
What pizza place?
Pizza Hut's usually my top favorite.
Don't forget spaghetti too.
Yeah.
Do you have any other hobbies?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, my dad back there will usually take me out hiking, or take me out to eat, or like camping. Just like a couple weeks ago with my dad and brothers, we got a B&B in Houston Woods.
Lovely.
Yeah, just cherished our time together.
Any places in particular you like to hike or be outdoorsy?
No, not really. But like I know Houston Woods, that's an old childhood tradition of ours for my brothers and I. We've also done Stillwater Prairie and Covington, I believe. And there are times where Dad will sometimes discover new hiking trails that we'll sometimes try out.
How many brothers do you have?
2.
2.
Yep.
Can you tell them a little bit about your theme song that you collaborated with your brother?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, as my dad's friend Cheryl there brought up, with the help of my younger brother Chris and some of his friends, I actually got an Adventures in Micah theme song made. I wrote the lyrics, and then Christopher and his friends made the song itself. I do have that on YouTube if you want to check that out.
Nice.
Possibly.
Yeah, if you want to search the video, it's called the Adventures of Micah theme song, I believe.
Any other questions?
Good.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share, or any other advice you think first-year college students should have or should hear?
Yeah, I would think the first advice I think one advice I'd like to share is don't be in a hurry. Like I mentioned before, pace yourself. Yeah, enjoy the ride. Just embrace your differences. Whatever you learn best, embrace that. So, yeah, my mind. Yeah, I'm losing my train of thought here. Like I said, don't be in a rush. Pace yourself. Never give up. Eyes on the prize. And one of these days, you will achieve your dreams.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.